Well, good evening. We're
Good evening.
so excited to be back with you guys. I tell you, it's been such a great time all summer long. We've just been recouping. We've been strategizing. We've been looking at different avenues. And I tell you, we're just so super excited to be back with you guys here live on Facebook at 7:30. And I tell you, you're going to be in for a treat. These upcoming months are going to be explosive. There's going to be so much exposure, so much growth that's going to take place as it relates to the blended family dynamic. And so we're just bubbling over with excitement for all that's going to be done, revealed, and shared through this medium of In the Blender with Brandon and Madeline Hyman. And I tell you, it's just been so many people have just been hitting us up. Like, what you guys doing? What's going on? When you coming back? Well, guess what? We're back. Live and in living color. And I tell you, we're ready. Great anticipation on what's going to happen in your lives as it relates to this gift of In the Blender with Brandon and Madeline Hyman. And so we're going to jump right in. Before we do that, though, we have some exciting. You want to share the news now, or you want to wait till later?
We can wait to the end.
Okay, we got some exciting news that we're going to share with you guys in the end. I tell you, you don't want to miss it, because what we're going to share with you has just been, oh my goodness, it's been phenomenal. What has transpired for us these last months. And I tell you, we're just ready to run with this thing. We have our marching orders. We know what it is that we should be doing and how we should do it. And I tell you, there's just been so many avenues and doors that's been open to us. And we're going to share some of that with you at the end of the broadcast. But right now, sweetheart, let's go with our statistics.
Okay. 16% of children live in a blended family. The number of kids living in blended families has been stable for nearly 13 years. Children of Hispanic, Black, and white backgrounds are equally likely to live in this type of family. And then lastly, children from Asian families are half as likely as Hispanic, Black, or white kids to be a part of a blended family.
Wow. So the first stat is 16% of children live in a blended family. So, and that's just a huge number within itself. Then the second one is the number of kids living in a blended family has been stable for nearly 13 years. So there's not a real growth spurt as it relates to that. And that's only simply because they're really just beginning to take stats as it relates to the blended family. But trust me, this thing is increasing by exponential numbers, because so many people are entering into this dynamic. It's hard to really track at first. It's hard to really assess how it's being tracked. And so trust me, in the next coming months and the next coming years, you're going to hear this number just jump. And then the third one was children of Hispanic, Black, and white backgrounds are equally likely to live in this type of family. So just know, this is not a racial thing.
Right.
It's not an economic thing. It's a social thing. Blended families are a social issue that we're dealing with every single day, which has to be addressed. There has to be medium out there to help build the blended families, because there are a lot of people that are entering into this dynamic every single day that have no clue on how to be successful in this. It's funny because we didn't have a clue. We entered into this dynamic like clueless. There were so many things that we learned through trial and error, through ups and downs, that because we kept the right attitude, because our motives were pure, because we wanted to see others blessed in and by us, but what we were doing, we were able to weather all that we encountered.
Right.
But so many people need this type of medium. And then it says, well, now watch this, the last one to me, and that's a whole nother episode we're going to have to talk about, because that's going to dive into some of the cultural differences that are out there. But it says children of Asian families, now listen to this, are half as likely as Hispanics, black, or white kids to be a part of blended families. And so you want to really know, why is that so? Because that, again, that's a cultural thing. And we need to know what it is about the Asian culture that doesn't participate in the blended family culture or the blended family dynamic. And that's going to be a blessing within itself, because you can take some of their principles and apply to your daily living. And then now we can curtail this, because we don't want to see this continue to grow. Right. We want to stabilize this and get back to the original plan and purpose that God has put in place for the family.
Correct.
And so that's why these statistics are important, so that we can now get back into our rightful place. So tonight we're going to be talking about, and this is, oh man, this is huge. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than you. Because a lot of times when we get into this blended family dynamic, the number one person is us.
We think about it as us.
The number one person we think about is us. But when you understand, and when I say us, I mean the individual, him or herself.
Right.
And so when you understand that it's bigger than you, there's a whole lot of other things, there's a whole lot of other pieces that are tied into what it is you're doing.
Absolutely.
It's not just about you and yours. It's about your family, your extended family. It's about your neighbors. It's about your co-workers. It's about your employees. It's about everything that's connected and tied to you, whether directly or indirectly. Because there are some people that are tied to you somewhat indirectly that'll be blessed even more because of what they're seeing.
Right.
And so we're going to jump right into this, because, man, we got a lot to cover. So what is the first one, sweetheart?
You can't allow what you're going through to cause you to throw in the towel.
You can't allow what you're going through to cause you to throw in the towel. Say that again.
You can't allow what you're going through to cause you to throw in the towel.
Wow. You can't, I got to say it again. You can't allow what you're going through to cause you to throw in the towel. I had to start with that, because so many people are giving up.
Yeah.
So many people are calling it quits. First of all, you're not a quitter. You are not a quitter. So why are you giving up? There's nothing about you that says quit.
Right.
There's nothing about you that says give up. But as it relates to this dynamic, you're throwing in the towel. I can't take it anymore. I don't know what they want. Forget about what they want. What do you want? I'll take it a step further. Forget about what you want. What does God want out of you? What does he want out of this life? What does he want out of this situation? Because there were things that we encountered that we could have threw in the towel. You guys heard some of the stuff that we went through. Man, let me tell you something. There were stretches of years that every single day we had our own personal reason to throw in the towel.
Absolutely.
We had our own personal reason to give up and to walk away. But you can't throw in the towel. You can't give up. It's bigger than you. This thing is so, if you can just see, if you can just get a glimpse of how big what you're in right now is as relates to the total picture of your life, you'll understand that giving up is an option. Quitting is not an option.
Right.
It's not an option. And so I want to encourage you. I want to start off tonight by encouraging and let you know that you can't allow what you're going through. I don't care if it's financially. I don't care if it's emotionally. Because remember, finances change.
Right.
Emotions change. I don't care people change. We've changed. Over 20 plus years, we've changed.
Absolutely.
We've changed. I've changed a lot.
You have. You really have.
I've changed. I mean, I remember when we first got together, she had to have long hair. I mean, I was stuck on what I liked. I love long hair. She already light-skinned it. So she that was right on point. Then I had this thing with hairy legs. She had to have hairy legs. Man, she was miserable trying to please me with that one. Especially wearing them stockings.
Yeah. That's why I'm wearing them now.
Exactly. And so things change. And so if you're going to throw in a towel because of what you're dealing with, I don't care if it's the biological parent you're dealing with. I don't care if it's the children that you're dealing with. I don't care what it is you're dealing with. You cannot throw in the towel.
Right.
We've dealt with it all. I mean, from the rooter to the tutor. We've dealt with it all. And trust me, it's been worth everything that we've accomplished to hang in here and to see you guys be blessed by what we've gone through and what we can impart into you guys. And so understand that you can't allow what you're going through to cause you to throw in the towel. What's the next one, sweetheart?
There are lessons to be learned from everything that you go through, whether good or bad.
There are lessons to be learned. There are lessons to be learned. There are lessons to be learned from everything. Mm-hmm. Not just some things, everything. Whether good or bad. Mm-hmm. Whether it was good, whether it was bad, there's still lessons to be learned.
Absolutely.
And so when you encountering things, especially as it relates to this blended family dynamic, find out what the lesson is. There's always, there were things that I did, the lesson was, that's stupid.
Yeah.
No, really. And some people don't like to hear that stupid. But stupid is stupid.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to hear that that's stupid so you can stop doing stupid stuff. There were things that I was doing was just flat out stupid. Selfish. To myself. Didn't want to be bothered. My way or the highway. I'm the only one that's right. I'm the only one that got the ideas. I'm the only, I'm. That was me. I. And so, you better believe it, Curtis. You better believe it. And so there's lessons to be learned. I learned, first of all, I learned how to love my wife. I learned how to love my children. I learned how to love the exes. I learned how to love those that didn't love me. I learned how to love in-laws. I learned how to love those that thought I was no good. Those that didn't appreciate me. But I also learned how to love those that were in my corner. Mm-hmm. I also learned how to love those that were for me. I learned so many valuable lessons by everything that I went through. Mm-hmm. I learned how to be temperamental because I was quickly to be angered. Mm-hmm. And so I learned how to calm myself down. I learned how to process a situation. That's why you can't get me off. People try to get me off, they can't get me off because I learned how to handle myself. I learned how to be the controller of my emotions. Yeah. A lot of times, sweetheart, what I found out is people get off because they can't control their emotions. When your emotions control you, that's a dangerous place to be in. Yeah. That's a dangerous place to be in when your emotions control you. Hey, Chief, what's going on? I'll tell you, because there are people, Chief, that one of my buddies knew me since we were little kids, knew I was easy to anger. You get me mad, you got a problem on your hands. And guess what? I had to learn how to control that. And so there's always lessons to be learned. I learned about financial responsibility. I learned that I wasn't the most responsible person financially. I learned that my wife was far more responsible financially than I am. I learned that she handled bills better than me. I learned that she liked to pay bills.
That I like to pay bills.
She liked to pay bills. I learned that.
On time.
On time. And so there were lessons to be learned, whether good or bad. And guess what? It didn't take any, and just understand this, learning lessons whether good or bad, don't take anything away from you. Would you say, Curtis, when you control your emotions,
when emotions
control you, you're not trusting God. Exactly.
Taking all, I trust Him. Absolutely.
When emotions control, and I like that. When emotions control you, you're not trusting God. You trusting you. And let me tell you something. You could sometimes be the worst person to trust.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but when it comes to your emotions, you gotta know whether you can be trusted. Let me say that again. When it comes to your emotions, you have to know whether you can be trusted, because sometimes you can't be trusted.
Absolutely.
When you know that you don't have good temperament, when you know you're easily moved, when you know you're unstable as it relates to your emotions, you know you can't trust you. It's always good to have somebody in your corner that you can go to, especially in emotional times,
right?
And decrease so that whatever they say can increase in you. That doesn't take away from who you are, because I'm finding out a lot of people, you're so worried about you. You're so worried about you. So worried about you being known and you have an opinion. And let me tell you something. If you are destructive, if you got you in this mess, then 9 times out of 10, you can't get you out of this mess.
Yeah, that was good.
Let me say it again, because she said that was good, so I'm going to say it again.
If you got you in the mess.
If you got you in this mess,
more than likely, what you say?
9 times out of 10, more than likely, you can't get you out of this mess.
Yeah,
if you got this, you need help. You need somebody other than you to assist you to make sure that you're making the right decisions and the right choices, so that you can get everything that you want to get out of this. What's the next one, sweetheart?
People are watching you, so what are you showing them?
Wow. People are watching you. So what are you showing them? You know, this what bores me. I don't care what people say. I don't care what people think. You ought to care what people say. You ought to care what people think. Not to the degree that it's controlling you, but to the degree that it's controlling you. Wow. Let me say that one again. Not to the degree that it's controlling you, but to the degree that it is controlling you. Because a lot of times, if you're not worried about people watching you, then you'll be reckless. And that's a dangerous place to be in. When you're so into yourself that you can do whatever you're big and bad enough to do, and it doesn't matter what you're showing other people. Because watch this. You can either be a help or a hindrance to other people's success. Mm-hmm. You can either be a help or a hindrance to other people's success. Because what you're doing, other people are watching. They're watching how you love your husband. They're watching how you love your wife. They're watching how you love your children. They're watching everything about you. You have every single day, there are people coming to us that are telling us, I've been watching you. There was such a, hey Tawana, how you doing there? There was this group back in the 80s. I love these guys so much. Hall & Oates. Yeah. They used to sing this song, say, private eyes. They're watching you. Watching your every move. There are private eyes that are watching you right now. Yeah. There are private eyes. What do you mean private eyes? There are people privately watching your lifestyle. There are people privately watching how you handle your circumstances. How you handle this blended family. A great friend of ours, she just tuned in, Tawana, been knowing us over 20 years. Yeah. Watching us. Know what we're saying to be the truth. I mean, watching us. And she didn't have to watch us with private eyes because she was right there to see our growth, to see how we mature, to see how we increase. But there are people that's watching you privately. That either what you do is going to be a blessing or it's going to be a cursing to them. So you got to care. You have to be cautious and conscious of what you're doing because people are watching you. So what are you showing them?
Absolutely.
I always tell my wife this, my number one saying, I want to have what people think they see. That's my number one saying, guys. If you see us, and you're going to see us, and you see a blessed marriage, a blessed relationship, a man and a woman that love each other, that care for each other, that promote each other, I'm her. Let me tell you something. She has no bigger cheerleader than me. No bigger cheerleader than me. I don't care, children, grandchildren, siblings, parents. Nobody's a bigger cheerleader than me when it comes to this one. Nobody's promoting this one bigger than me. Nobody. And so it's important, guys, to understand this, that people are watching you. Absolutely. So what are you showing them?
Absolutely.
Are you showing them victory? Are you showing them overcoming? Are you showing them the love of God? Are you showing them that in spite of what they're going through, that they are more than conquerors?
Absolutely.
Or are you showing them that, you know what, they gave up so I can give up too? You're not going to use my life as a tool to quit.
Right.
Let me say that again. You're not going to use my life as a tool to quit. That should be your confession every single day. I will not allow people to use my life to quit. You're not going to quit on your family. You're not going to quit on your business. You're not going to quit on your dreams. You're not going to quit on any aspect of your life if it involves me.
Absolutely.
If it involves what I'm doing, if it involves what you're seeing as it relates to my life, I give you no excuse and no reason to quit. Because private eyes, they're watching you. Come on, Harley Notes. Talk to me. Watching your every move.
Because what? Quitters don't win and winners don't quit.
Exactly.
And we win.
We win in every area. Always and in every area, we win. So I don't care what it looks like. I ain't gonna move it too fast. Go to the next one, sweetheart. We'll be almost out of time.
Understand that just because it seems messy doesn't mean that it is a mess. Let me read that again.
Say that again.
Understand that just because it seems messy doesn't mean that it is a mess.
Understand. Let me say that again. Understand. Understand that just because it seems messy does not mean that it is a mess. Because you can get off on that. You can get off on because it seems messy. There were things that we encountered, especially early on, that was messy. I'm talking about messy. Didn't mean that it was a mess, but it was messy. And if we weren't mature, if we were not mature enough to understand that just because it was messy, it wasn't a mess, we would have went back before this and we would have threw in the towel.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Because it was messy. It was messy when you got a house full of kids and in 2 years, you got a house, 3 years, you got a house empty. That's messy. That's messy. Each year, one child was gone. That's messy. Didn't mean it was a mess, but it was messy. Because from the outside, when you looked at it, man, what in the world is going on over there? What in the world are they doing? They tripping, they lunching, they off. But guess what? Our family is so tight. So tight. So tight. Let me say it again. So tight. Our relationships are so tight. What was messy was not a mess.
Absolutely.
Because, again, there are lessons that you can learn from everything, whether good or bad.
Yep.
So just because it's messy, don't get discouraged. Let me watch this. You know the number one thing they use in horticulture? Say, what in the world is that? When you're growing things from the earth, one of the things they use is this thing called manure. Manure. And you know what manure is. And you know what it smells like. And sometimes all it is manure. All it is a growth mechanism used to blossom whatever it is you're desiring from that situation. It stinks. Nobody wants to touch it, and nobody wants to be around it. People avoid it at all costs. But guess what? If you use that manure properly,
absolutely,
you're going to have one of the prettiest, and I mean prettiest, flower beds. You're going to have one of the prettiest yards if you use it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that they've been doing since the beginning of time. And there's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
And so if it worked then, guess what? It works now. So just because it's messy, just because it stinks, just because nobody want to touch it, just because nobody wants to be around, just because you don't want to handle it, does not mean that it's a mess. That's not what that means. And so we want to encourage you on that. What's the next one, sweet? Oh, my God.
We only got 4 minutes.
Go ahead.
Perception is reality. You must change the way that you view the situation.
Perception is reality.
You must change the way that you view the situation.
Let's go back. Perception is reality.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be careful about perception, man. Because perception can get you off.
Mm-hmm.
What you think you see is not always what you see. Let me say that again. What you think you see is not, hey, Donnell, what's going on? What you think you see is not always what you see. A lot of times we're looking at a situation, or we're looking at circumstances, or we're looking at individuals, and we think that what we're seeing is really what we're seeing, or what it is. And most times, that's not even the case. But because you haven't done this second part in changing the way you view things, then what happens is you will see it in the wrong light. How do I change, Kurt said, how do I change my view
when I think it's normal?
When I think it's normal. Easy, Kurt. Exposure. One of the things that I do, I expose myself to more than what it is I know. My pastor, Apostle Mike Freeman, always said, he says this. See, it's what? So you say it.
No,
you said just get ready to say it. No, I want to see where you at. I want to see if you're with me. Come on. No, I ain't going to let you get all this time.
No, I'm not going to say it.
No, what did he say?
I want to make sure
expose you what?
Comes.
What? Come on, go ahead.
It ain't that's not the way it goes.
I know. All growth comes through exposure. Exactly. So how you change your view, how you grow in your view, is through exposure.
Absolutely.
And so a lot of times, like my wife and I were talking about situations, and she'll say something like, I don't see it that way. And I tell her, okay, stop looking at it from your point of view then. Simple. If your point of view is showing you one thing, then change your point of view. How do I change my point of view? Change the angle by which you're looking.
Mm-hmm.
People do it all. They pay people hundreds of thousands of dollars to do what I'm telling you guys to do right now. And guess what? You can be successful if you do it. They call profilers. You know how people profile people? All they do is change their view. What do you mean? They put themselves in that person's shoes, and then they think as if they were that person to get another view of how they're thinking. Now, when they re-look at it or when they revisit it, now they're revisiting things from a whole new perspective, a whole new perception. And so when you understand that perception is reality and you need to change the way you look at things, then now put yourself in your wife's shoes. Put yourself in your children's shoes. Put yourself in your family's shoes. And now you will begin to see how they see, whether it's right or wrong, but it will assist you in how you're looking at things. And sometimes it will change how you're doing it.
Yes, all growth comes through exposure. Thanks for typing that.
Actually, a lot of it. It will come through. Wow. Ooh.
Well, it's 8 o'clock.
It's 8 o'clock. Listen, we got so much more to this, but we're going to stop right here. I'm telling you guys, we're excited. This is going to be a blessing. The end of 2018 is going to be so phenomenal for you guys. I promise you that. As it relates to this blended family dynamic and what you're going to be showing people, because you're going to leave this broadcast. You're going to leave the viewing of this broadcast now wanting to make sure that I'm showing people the right picture.
Right.
You now going to want to make sure that everything that you're doing, you understand that there's somebody watching you, and their success and or failure is predicated upon what you're doing. It's predicated upon that. And so, come on, sweetheart. What's the big announcement?
So starting on this Thursday, we will be live. We'll be on WJMS Radio. So if you guys can tune in, that's 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Do you have the flyer up?
I think
we did. We posted it too on. I can't get yours.
Didn't get it.
You got it on the story. But the flyer is out there. We'll repost it. But starting this Thursday, we'll be on every Thursday night from 8 to 9 on WJMS Radio.
Yes, and so
with the lovely Jamie Jam.
Yes, so we'll be updating you guys. We're going to send out posts all the way up until Thursday and further on to let you guys know of the exciting news. This In the Blender with Brandon Madeline Hyman has taken off. You see, we're excited. When I get excited, I'm all halfway yelling. And so we're excited about what's transpiring as relates to this. And listen, you want to make sure that you let people know we're going to be every Tuesday at 7:30.
Yes.
As well as Thursday from 8 to 9 on WJMS. And so you have all the information. We're going to make sure you have all the information, all the details. There's some other things that are happening, and I'll tell you, we're going to be letting you guys know.
Question next week.
And we're going to make sure, Curtis, that we answer how do one become safe with exposure when the way I live is normal. And so we'll talk about that in our closure on next week. But listen, we love you guys. Thank you for allowing us that space and that opportunity to get refreshed over the summer. We hope you enjoyed yourselves. Listen, we're back in our time zone doing what we do, and we thank you for sharing as well as listening to us. We love you guys. What you going to say, Steve?
I was just going to say, and if you have any questions or comments, you can reach us at weareablendedfamily@gmail.com.
Give them that one more time.
weareablendedfamily@gmail.com.
And also our website.
intheblenderministries.com.
intheblenderministries.com.
There you can also reach out if you want to book us for conferences or workshops. Just send us information there, or either email us. Either one will be able to reach us, and we'll get back to you.
And so again, we love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Until next week.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Love y'all.